Morning, folks. Today's soap is brought to us by Clubman. This one here is the 2-ounce variety, and show you what it looks like there on the inside. It's fairly firm inside the container here, but it's really easy to scoop out. Now the scent, my nose, I can't tell one way or the other. Some say this is the classic vanilla from Clubman. Some say it's just a straight up Clubman scent. I can't tell one way or the other with my nose. So as far as I'm concerned, it'll play well with whatever aftershave you choose to go with. And today I went ahead and went with the Tequila Tease. And it says right down here at the bottom what the scent is like. And it mentions here, it says crisp lime, lemon scent, vanilla, musk, and a bittersweet almond note. Anyway, it's right there on the bottom of the label there, which is pretty nice for folks like me. Sometimes the nose just doesn't work out all that well. I have it whipped up in the Fine Accoutrements lathering bowl. It whipped up pretty well. This is somewhat wet. It's here with the Green Ray brush from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. It smells pretty nice. I mean, the scent is light. I have to get it really close to my nose in order for me to pick it up. It's not one of those scents, at least not per my nose, that as you're lathering it, you can actually pick up the scent. My nose, it doesn't work that well. Blade of the day is a Personna. This is what the wrapper was. It's an older wrapper, I guess you might say. And I have it in my Schick Krona. This is a twist to open. It's a vintage one. There's two different ones that you can see. There's as it goes for the handle difference. One has a metal knob down here. This one here, of course, would be the newer one. And you'll see a variety of these. This particular one here says Schick on the doors here. Some may not have anything at all. Some may say Corona. It kind of varies just depending on what time of the year you pick this up at when it was made. Should mention that it does have a slight overhang, and this razor here came about the Rusty razor. Rusty was talking about his in a video, and kind of inspired this one here. I've already put a hot towel to the face this morning. We'll go ahead and get started with the Phoenix Artisan cube here. This is the Christmas scented one, Preshave soap, and it starts out at 8 ounces, and I'm still working on it. I think on my next shave, though, that I'll go ahead and move over to a pre-shave oil. And that has a lot to do with what my skin's needs are. And last week, I did a shave, and I could tell that seemed like my skin was really needing the oil more than the soap. So sometimes it's a seasonal thing, just depending on what my skin is experiencing at the time. And there's nothing wrong with the soap. It's more what my skin needs. To me, it seems like these two meet different needs at different times of the season. I enjoy using both of them. I feel like, the pre-shave oil seems to have more of a post-shave experience, improves it somewhat more than what the soap does. But it also just depends on what your skin needs. And, for me, mine varies throughout the year and changes from time to time. Pre-shave oils, there's a lot of different takes on whether a pre-shave oil is a good thing or a bad thing. In other words, the concern is, there's been two concerns that I've been aware of. One, does it affect the lathering? And two, does the oils have a tendency to stay in your brush? My brushes, since they might experience throughout 1 year oil maybe 2, maybe 3 times, maybe at the most. In other words, it doesn't happen very often. So for me, I'm not near as worried about it, but for somebody else that maybe is just using one brush, or maybe a handful of brushes, and you're using pre-shave oil consistently, maybe there might be a cleaning issue, maybe. I don't know. I mean, for me, I haven't experienced anything with my brushes, but somebody else might. And plus, with nowadays with a lot of the brushes being synthetic, that's being sold and becoming, I guess you might say, a crowd favorite, I don't know how the oil would actually affect the bristles, since it should be relatively easy to clean. Not too terribly concerned, in other words, because they're not natural bristle. But cleaning them is not too terribly tough. Matter of fact, that's one of those things that Phoenix Artisan Accoutrement does sell, is a soap to clean your brushes. All right. Oh, I should show you what in case you haven't seen what the blade looks like that's been wrapped like that. That's what this one here says. It matter of fact, it says platinum chrome is what it says on there. I've had pretty good luck with Personna blades. I just finished up the video of pick your 5 artisans, which is really tough to do. So when it comes to blades, I picked this one. That video was just with hardware, but blades are a little bit easier. I've had really good luck with Personna blades. They're my favorite. Picking one blade or even 5 blades to me is a bit easier. A bit more difficult when it comes to soaps. When it comes to artisan soaps. That video is with artisan soaps, but if I had to pick a soap that was, I guess you might say, that I have a personal connection to, it'd be Williams. And the reason being is because my experience with Williams was, right at the beginning, was really tough. I did not really, I really struggled lathering that soap. So the first puck, I ended up chucking it after a while. Then I decided to go back and revisit it, not too long after I chucked it. And then the light bulb came on, and I learned how to lather Williams mug soap. And I'd have to say, because of that soap, for me, I have everything else to lather after that was just easy peasy. In other words, so I kind of guess you might say the lathering technique of using Williams mug soap helped me out a lot once I figured it out. And for some folks that might be missing the key trick to Williams mug soap is don't spare the hot water. That will help, at least in my case, it did help quite a bit with getting a lather to form up for you. It did take me a moment, but eventually I figured it out. As it goes for the Clubman shaving soap, it's really easy to use. It scoops out pretty easy out of the container. It's easy to press down in the lathering bowl. Matter of fact, it's pretty darn soft. Going price, I guess you might say the everyday price online is right around $7 mark. I'll have a link down below for it. I found mine, I guess you might say, on clearance. I think it was at a Walgreens, if I remember right. It might have been a CVS. It's been a while back. They had it on sale like $3 of every two, for 2 ounces. And so whatever they had on the shelf, I cleaned them out of it. The soap itself, like I say, it's easy to use. It's a 2-ounce container, does not take up a whole lot of room. The scent to me is pleasant. It doesn't, it's not off-putting or anything like that. At least not for my nose. They also have a cream that I have tried out, and I gave it to my dad. I tested it out. He was interested in a cream that was easy to lather, and tested that one out, and it was pretty easy to lather. And then, for the money, you can't complain. Guess you might say just really depends on what your wants and needs are. I enjoy the 2-puck size. Guess you might say if that was more readily available, in other words, soaps in a 2-ounce size, I would probably buy a lot more of those, because the fact that you get more variety of scents for less storage space and less for your money. You are paying for the convenience, of course, because most of them that you buy in 2-ounce variety, and they make it in a 4-ounce variety if you double the price, and the volume, and you'll notice you're paying a little bit more for the 2-ounce variety per ounce. But to me, I think it's worth it. Like I say, you get more variety of scents, experience. It's worthwhile to me. But I also understand that it's not everybody's favorite, only getting 2 ounces of a soap. You might consider, a lot of soap samples are right around the 1 ounce mark, and you might consider it a large sample, but works well if it's for what I'm using it for. I can just pick up the scent of the soap. You can kind of tell that the lather, for me, my kind of lather, this is right on the money. It's not too thick. It's not quite drippy, but this lather, in other words, this consistency works well for me. It rinses easy. Like I say, if you're lucky enough to find it in a store and find it on sale, it's a heck of a buy. Like I said, I picked mine up for, I think it's like $2.95, which is just like, yes, you only have 2. Yes, it was, matter of fact, it was on the other side of town. We just happened to be running errands one day, and one of our errands took us on more or less the, not necessarily the west side of Tulsa, but it was just a couple of miles from downtown. And we just happened to be over there, got a moment, whipped in there real quick, walked over there, and it's like, wow. And they had a sale on all their Clubman stuff. And so I even got some more beard balm, and I, just loaded up with whatever I could find. It was a good stop that day. Don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but, or the mic, I should say. There's a little bit of feedback on the against screen pass. You can find these on eBay, Etsy. These shavers, not too terribly expensive. This one here that I'm using today, some of the coating has left it some time ago. Still looks fine. It kind of looks like it's got a pewter type finish to it now. Still looks good, performs just fine, considering how old this is. Pretty nice shaver. Vintage, I know I go on and on sometimes when it comes to vintage shaver, like the Gem Micromatics. There's the design, the engineering of the day with these shavers, built to last a very long time. I do enjoy using them. History behind them. If you can ever read, some of the stories that you might find from days that have gone by. A little bit about, how they were being marketed, which for me, I find it really interesting. Read, some of the advertisements for some of the shavers, like shaving cream even. Those are fun. Reading those, I enjoy it. Don't see a whole lot anymore. In other words, that's not in a can. No, Gillette came out with a Pure and 2 other ones, I think, of recent history. In other words, the past 5 years. Just a little bit of stinging this morning on my neck, and I think that has more to do with some leftover from the flying wing that I used. Got a little aggressive on my neck. Stinging's already went by, passed on. Humphrey's Witch Hazel. This one here I haven't mentioned in a while. They come in different containers now, a different look. Same amount, just a different shaped container and whatnot. This one here is cucumber melon with a little bit of peppermint added to it. I added the peppermint. just enough to give a nice cooling effect. My head definitely uses the witch hazel. Top of my head gets abused quite a bit. Aftershave. Like I say, I'll have a link down below. And some of these sizes, like this one here, is a 6-ounce size. Some of Clubman's aftershaves are also offered in a travel size, 1.7 ounces, I believe it is. And those are, of course, somewhat cheaper than the full size, if you will. Some of Clubman's offerings are only in full size, depending on what ones you're looking at. For instance, like Osage Rub only comes in one size. I think that's 14 ounces. Still a very good buy, in my opinion. This scent, now that it's on me, it's not a dark scent by any means. It's I would consider it bright. Doesn't last all day by any means. In other words, probably 15 minutes after I put it on. My nose doesn't pick it up anymore, but my wife's does. I don't know that it lasts much more than an hour. It's really hard for me to say with my nose, but I do enjoy it while I can smell it, though. Like I say, it's a bright scent, not heavy, not a heavy weight, not a dark scent or anything quite like that. And it has a lot to do, maybe indicating, the color, what kind of scent that is. Lime. I enjoy lime, the musk. Works well for my nose. Hope everybody's doing well. Definitely stay healthy, stay safe, and smooth shakes to you.